Hello, I'm Björn. I'm going to do an update video on my manual Panamera S today. First, I want to apologize for my bad haircut due to COVID, or the non-existing haircut. And also that the car is extremely dirty, but it's been below freezing here for a month now, so I haven't been able to clean it. You can see some modifications to the car right away. I'll turn the camera around. The car now sits about 30 millimeters lower with HR springs and Bilstein B6 dampers. I've got the 20-inch wheels from a Panamera GTS. They're gray, but they look black right now, but it's because they are so dirty. In my last video, I explained I was not too happy about the sound or the lack of sound. Well, we have remedied that, and a life goal is achieved. So if I do a cold start in the morning with my wife cars in here as well, her alarm will go off. So that's pretty exciting. But I'll give it a cold start now so you can hear it. Now it's loud. I have to scream for you to hear me. So I apologize if this video is a bit shaky. With the stiffer suspension, I need a new mount for the camera with anti-stabilizer. Okay. So I wanted to go through the things I've done so far with the car and how I addressed the different criticism I had towards it when I received it. So I want to start with the sound. Let me open the flaps because we're out of dense populated areas. As you can hear now, it's properly loud if I wanted to. And it's also silent when I wanted to, which is the perfect mix. But now you get that kind of proper V8 singing that makes me feel like Steve McQueen. I love that. I absolutely adore the sound of it now. It's too loud when you just want to cruise and have comfort, where if I've opened the flaps. But I think it's okay because I can just close the flaps. I've mounted the controller for the flaps in a fairly poor place at the moment. But now when we have tested it, we're gonna move it to here where their cigarette lighters is at otherwise. So how did we get this sound from the Panamera? Okay, started by removing the middle silencer completely. And for me it's clear it's not necessary there. Then before the end silencers on each side, we installed a cutout, exhaust cutout, and built a new pipe so the two sides actually connect again to one exhaust going out in right under the rear axle, so a little bit behind the rear seat. Can't see any exhaust coming back into the car. So it would have been too loud if I was not able to turn it off when I want to be more in silent mode. It's a little bit difficult with visibility here, and as you can see, it's completely covered with snow, so I have to take it a bit careful. But I still drift a little bit. So I think for me, sound is check. Got the sound sorted. The next criticism I had was that it almost felt too heavy and slow responding. That's not a criticism from me anymore. I think it's absolutely fantastic. So what did we do? First off, in principle, old rubber is replaced with new rubber. So in the bushings for the wishbones, etc., it's replaced. I've changed the engine mounts. There's 3 of them. They're all changed. And one of them is a bloody pain in the neck, my mechanic told me. So that was fairly expensive, even though the material is not that costly. Then we installed Bilstein V6 Damptronics dampers and HR springs to get the car down. Then we topped that off with the 20-inch wheels and a good wheel alignment. I worked a lot with a company here in the city that has done a lot of racing, so they set it up according to my requirements. So focus on steering entry and quick steering response more than high speed stability. But for me, high speed stability is not an issue with this car. It's rock solid. So the steering now feels exactly as I wanted it. I mean, it's not a proper analog car, but it's still a nice steering. So that is sorted. What is not sorted is the Damptronics function. I've had a lot of discussions with Bilstein, and it's still not clear what the issue is, but it doesn't work. It doesn't communicate with the PASM system as it's supposed to. So it feels like it's always in, I'd say, sport mode setting. It still makes the rolling burnouts. It's slippery now, so it's not a lot of grip even on dry tarmac. Just make sure he's not going anywhere. Okay, there's definitely something on the road. Was focusing on something else. He didn't want to move for me. So it means that the chassis is always like it's a B12 kit. I had a BMW 3 Series with a Bilstein B12 kit, which is in principle B8 dampers together with lowering springs. And this now set up like that all the time. It doesn't matter what mode it is in, if it's in sport plus or comfort. I really miss the comfort setting, so I need to fix it. They say it might be a calibration issue with the car since it's been lowered. I'm not fully convinced. So what will happen is either I get help from Porsche to sort out the calibration and start working, or I will take these dampers off and return them to Bilstein, because I'm not paying Damptronic prices to get to not have the function in principle. The next criticism I had was the pedals. So how have I addressed that? I've installed redline pedals, so the distance between the pedals is smaller. So now I got much better control when heel towing. So that's much better. The throttle response, I haven't done anything about it at this point. So it's still slow responding, especially at low revs. For me, that really became evident because I've been very engaged now and with my father and bought a TVR Griffith with a stroked 5.4 liter engine. And we picked it up a couple of weeks ago, and the pure throttle response is instant. It's just how I want a sports car engine to be. That's how I want this engine to be. Okay, I can understand that it's not going to be as lively, but it needs to become a lot raspier. So I need to sort that with the mapping. Then the next issue I had was the traction control, that it kept on interfering with me too much. That's also actually less of an issue now, and I don't know why, but I've been driving it all winter and I haven't felt it intrusive whatsoever, and I've been sliding a lot. So let's see when it's hot tarmac, we got summer tires on, how it reacts. I don't know. Another thing we did was to rebuild the air intake. So my mechanic built new piping and installed the air intake in an open big filter in front of the right wheel arch. So now even when I've closed the exhaust valves, it sounds a little bit raspier. It's a bit more engaging. It's still not full on sound, but I'll show you. Just slow down, so I'll do it in second gear. So before, I didn't think this V8 sounded anything that didn't sound engaging. So now it sounds better. And do the same thing. what it's doing, and especially when it comes to grip level. Now, I still missed the limited slip diff when I drive in these conditions, because you can start to feel the inner rear wheel start tugging away first. Now that's a good indication that grip level is going to disappear, and it's reduced, so you're on the limit, and it does it in a very soft way. And with this long wheelbase, this car is the most relaxed car I think I've ever owned when it comes to oversteer condition. It never catches you off guard. But it still feels like a sports car now. And I didn't think it would become this good of a sports car. I'm so stoked about it as a sports car concept, or a GT, sporty GT. This is exactly what I wanted from a four-door Porsche analog driving experience. So very excited about the summer. This summer we got the TVR Griffith that's now being modified to fit both mine and my father's size. We're simply too tall for it, but I love the sound. I mean, 400 horsepower isn't a lot today, but 400 horsepower is enough. It's still it's a fast car when you're out driving like this, no question about it. I actually don't miss power, even though it was great fun to drive the AMG on this road. I don't miss power, and that might be strange because I got a much faster car coming in a couple of weeks' time. I'm replacing my wife's car with a Tesla Model 3 Performance. That's gonna make this car feel really, really slow. So I love this road, and I've come here in a lot of different cars, and this is my favorite. I mean, the AMG was a wilder ride for sure, much wilder. The traction control was on all the time, no matter of the speed at these conditions. And in summer it was ballistic fast. Of course, my friend's 991 GT3 is a different level when it comes to car altogether. But that is a very, very, very fast and serious car that I don't feel I get the same, let's say, I don't dare to play with it in the same way. Both because it's expensive and it's not mine. But of course that is, one of the best cars you can have for this type of driving. But this is a really, really fun canyon carving car now. Back road, country, driving, whatever out here, for sure. Driving in the southern part of Sweden. Here they cover the road in sand, and I'd much rather have it without the sand because it's really rough on your paint, and I haven't been able to protect this car yet because I buy it from new. There you can see, you know, it's so easy to drift. Driving on this road if the lower wing didn't need a repaint anyway. So both the lower side spoilers and the front bumper and the rear bumper is gonna get a respray this year. So I'm hoping not too much will come up on the wrist. Of course, it's not good for the wheel arches, but as you can see, I can trust the front a lot of the car, and just play around with the rear, especially when we're going this fairly slowly. drive too fast when it's slippery and it starts understeer, that is your savior. Pull the handbrake, get it sideways, and you can steer out of the situation. You cannot do that with this one. I mean, you can drop down a gear and use the engine brake as an indication of handbrake, and I did it in a corner up there to make it just skip out a little bit on the corner entry. It's an absolutely beautiful area. That's why I wanted to get out here now. It's getting close to the sunset, and this lake is absolutely stunning. Absolutely stunning. I just love it. So let's sing a V8 over the lake. That's a bit rude, but it's quite fun. Started getting used to it, but I found it to be very difficult in the beginning, is that the delay in throttle response is both when getting on throttle and getting off. And during the first snowfalls, I just drifted too far all the time because the throttle didn't let go when I wanted to. It kept, you know, gave me throttle another tenth of a second or something like that, and that changes the balance, so you want a little bit better control. Now I'm getting used to it, so it's not a big deal, but anyway, not how I want it, so closing words for the day. Even though it's winter, you can still enjoy a proper drive. I love this. Perfect Sunday drive. This car is my perfect Sunday drive car in all weather at this point. I think it has a fantastic balance. I love the interior, the place to be, the noise, the steering, the balance. I think this is a fantastic car. I truly believe it is. I didn't think it was a fantastic car. I loved the concept when I got it. Now I love the car. So once I get these small niggles sorted, I'm saying this is most likely a keeper for a long time. I can't think of any car in any price range that I would rather have than this to do the job this does, which is Sunday drives like this. It drives the kids to school. I go grocery shopping with it. I can do a long journey with it, you know, proper road trip. Put 4 friends in here and go for a proper drive. I think it's fantastic. So for me, this is the perfect do-it-all car. Other cars can give more adrenaline. The combination of all, I think this is quite unbeatable. Okay, I'll give you another update. Maybe my next video will be in this car or